The other day I was scrolling on my iPad and something hit me like a jolt. Sudden sense of urgency to get up and do something productive. This feeling comes to me often if I'm being completely honest. Mostly in the early mornings or late at night. Sometimes I can't even sleep because of the sense of urgency to get up and do something. I've had this for a while and it's starting to really weigh down on me. But before I get into what got me out of my seat, let me explain where this sense of urgency is coming from. It might sound like a future frame problem, but really it's a lot more nuanced than that. And it's not where I thought it was coming from. You actually might have the same feeling, but it might be manifested from something different in your life. Society and community does dictate how it wants us to live, and maybe those pressures are weighing you down. Another part of me recognized the inherent human condition. Once you turn 30, the math somewhat changes. You stop counting the years that you've lived and start counting the years you have left. So for me, that was part of the equation. Maybe it was the fact that our world is changing at a pace that none of us can really keep up at. For the last 4 or 5 years, I've been working with AI and data teams, and seeing the pace of change in technology and the digital environment is quite concerning, and maybe that's part of this sense of dread. And sometimes I tell myself I'm just being impatient and I'm not grateful. But really, when I reflect on my 20s and what I achieved and did in those 10 years, it starts to paint a picture where this dread comes from, what the root cause of that feeling is, and how to address it. It took a very long time to figure things out in my early to mid 20s. For the longest time, I thought I had wasted my 20s when I look back, and I thought I didn't really hit the ground running like I wanted to. And I sat with that regret and fear of repeating those mistakes in my 30s. And if I'm being honest, most of my regret comes from missed opportunities. Not so much that opportunities that I had taken and failed at, it was opportunities that at the time I didn't realize how valuable and how often and uncommon those opportunities were. And I really did feel like opportunities would always be there. I'm not pursuing this opportunity right now because I'm not ready and I don't have the right skill set or mindset. And when you're younger, you think you have all the time in the world. You think that you can achieve your dreams at any point, and you don't realize that the mountain of responsibilities coming your way. I was really busy distracting myself. And then earlier I saw this post right here. The average career is 42 years, and I thought to myself, would I want to be doing what I'm doing now 42 years of my life? It made me go back to my exchange semester that started in late 2019, where really I had planned to obviously go do an exchange semester abroad and learn in a different university, but the adjacent goal was to document that experience and show my travels, show what I've experienced in that 6 months, and tell a bit of a story and bring everyone along on that journey. And that didn't materialize, to be honest. I had all the gear, I had my phone, I had a DJI Osmo mobile gimbal, and I was ready to go experience the world and document every second of that. And the truth is, I didn't do it. I would scatteredly take photos and videos as I went, but nothing intentional, and I didn't really document things the way I wanted to document them, if I'm being honest. I was reluctant to get out of my comfort zone. And I guess what I have left is a lot of these photos from overseas. Whilst they are good and they keep me connected to my experience and my time there, it's not the same as, documenting the granular aspects of your day and revisiting that and telling a cohesive story of my transformation over that 6 months. Because, solo traveling to 21 countries dramatically changes who you are as a person and what you focus on. And it's not something that I really understood would happen, and not documenting that is one of my big regrets. But the issue is, I realized this years ago. Naming the urgency and where it comes from and its root cause hasn't helped me deal with it. I swung the complete other way. I just became obsessed with hustle culture, optimizing every aspect of my life, weighing my food to make sure that I was getting the right fuel, filling out my calendar with different times blocks, and all these different strategies just to get the most out of my time and ensure that I wasn't terminally distracted. But then came the chase of status, and I promised myself I would be happy at the next milestone. So every time I would get a promotion or hit a certain financial threshold, I would say, yeah, this is good, on to the next one. And the goalpost kept moving and my happiness would move alongside with it. This idea has been defined. It's called arrival fallacy. It's the idea that, reaching a specific long sought after goal, such as promotions or high income or major milestones in life, will bring happiness, which never do. I was soothing my regret with a disguise, as opposed to really having to think about what I actually wanted in life. So if neither distraction nor disguise is what I was after, what was I truly seeking? So what do I actually want in life? something that's going to allow me to take authorship in my life, live intentionally, and also create authentically. And I think this channel might be an option. I know that there's another path. There's a detachment one where essentially, work doesn't have to have the main purpose or main meaning of my life, and I can use work to fund other hobbies or other aspects of my life. I think in this day and age, we have a real good opportunity to try to marry both, our work with our passions and pursue a path that hasn't been taken by other people, but will be the most fulfilling one for our lives. So right now, honestly, I do feel unfocused. I'm not sure where to put my energy, whether it's in the consulting business or this channel, but I'm experimenting, and I think it's important to try a few different things and see what sticks. Like I said, I am experimenting. I'm trying something new. I'm trying to find the next path or the next chapter, but with experimentation, that brings fear. And for me, fear is very closely related with regret. If you don't address fear in the present moment, that morphs and transforms into regret for your future. So it's a lot more difficult to deal with than fear in the present moment. I think it's normal to have this fear, and there's been a quote that I've been sitting with lately. It goes something like, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. And the way I interpret that is, you need to just take action, and eventually the path will uncover itself. So that's the reframe that I've taken in 2026, and focusing on my two distinct goals, but they are somewhat related in my overarching goal of finding authorship, living intentionally, and creating authentically. One question to leave you with: what is one thing in your 20s that you look back on that you were telling yourself you weren't ready at the time, that was quite a unique and profound opportunity that you think back to and say, that could have changed my life? Put that down below. Is that something you're dealing with? What have you learned from that situation? And if you're somewhere in this same journey as me, somewhere on the path of trying to find authorship, live intentionally, or create authentically, feel free to subscribe and come on this journey with me. Thanks for watching.